Welcome to Bullying and Harassment Training and Legal Duties 2014. Disclaimer: the videos shown in this presentation are off of the WorkSafe BC website and do not represent any workers of First United. As some of you may know, WorkSafe BC mandated bullying and harassment training for all employers and employees as of November 1st, 2013. In this training, we will review the Workers' Compensation Act, how to recognize workplace harassment and bullying, the employer's obligations, worker and supervisor obligations for responding to bullying and harassment, reporting procedures both internally and externally, investigating incidents or complaints, what coworkers can do to stop bullying and harassment, how to talk to a bully, as well as provide some additional information. The Workers' Compensation Act states it is the duty of employers, supervisors, and managers to ensure or protect the health and safety of workers, which also includes workplace bullying and harassment. So what is bullying and harassment? Bullying and harassment can come from coworkers, supervisors, managers, employers, or external sources and consists of any behavior that humiliates or intimidates. For example, verbal aggression or name-calling, vandalizing someone's belongings, sabotaging work and spreading rumors, initiation and hazing practices, personal attacks, aggressive or threatening gestures, as well as cyberbullying. WorkSafe BC defines bullying and harassment as any conduct that includes any inappropriate, vexatious conduct or comment by a person towards a worker that the person knew or reasonably ought to have known would cause that worker to be humiliated, offended, or intimidated, but excludes any reasonable action taken by an employer or supervisor relating to the management and direction of workers or the place of employment. Let's watch a short video of what bullying and harassment means for you in your workplace.
It seems like everyone is talking about bullying and harassment, but what does it mean for you and your workplace? This video explains what workplace bullying and harassment is and what it's not, legal obligations for employers, supervisors, and workers, and where to get the information you need. So first off, what is workplace bullying and harassment? It includes any inappropriate conduct or comment by a person towards a worker that the person knew or reasonably ought to have known would cause that worker to be humiliated or intimidated. Examples could be yelling or name-calling, vandalizing personal belongings, harmful hazing or initiation practices. There might be a single perpetrator or a group. There may be just one target or many. Bullying and harassment can occur between co-workers or between the employer and a worker. Or it can come from external sources, such as members of the public, clients and customers, or workers from other organizations. Bullying and harassment also extends to online activities. Cyberbullying can occur through email, text messages, social networks, and other websites. What is not considered workplace bullying and harassment? Managers and supervisors have many responsibilities. Decisions relating to job duties, workloads, deadlines, and performance management, or the direction of workers and the workplace are not bullying and harassment. So what are your legal duties? Employers have an obligation to take reasonable steps to prevent bullying and harassment, or minimize it where possible. Employers must also develop a policy statement that addresses bullying and harassment in the workplace. Develop and implement procedures for reporting incidents or complaints, and for how they will be dealt with. They also have to train supervisors and workers. Supervisors and workers are required to comply with the employer's policies and procedures and not engage in workplace bullying and harassment. Workers must report it when they see it or experience it. The bottom line is, bullying and harassment is a workplace hazard that poses a risk to the health and safety of workers. As part of their responsibility to protect workers' safety, WorkSafe BC prevention officers will inspect workplaces to determine if employers have taken reasonable steps to prevent and address bullying and harassment. The occupational health and safety policies explain what WorkSafe BC considers to be reasonable steps for employers to take. When bullying is reported, it gives employers an opportunity to take positive action. Put an end to workplace bullying and harassment. An online toolkit is available that includes helpful information and advice. For the resources you need, visit worksafebc.com/bullying.
So now that we have some examples of what bullying and harassment looks like, let's review what bullying and harassment is not. Expressing differences of opinion, offering constructive feedback, and making a legitimate complaint about another worker's conduct is not bullying or harassment. Also, any reasonable management action, including decisions about job duties and work to be performed, workloads or deadlines, layoffs, transfers, promotions, or reorganizations, work instruction, supervision and feedback, work evaluation, including performance management, discipline, suspensions, or terminations, are all not considered workplace bullying or harassment. Bullying and harassment can have an effect on the safety of workers. It can create health and safety issues by distracting someone from doing a dangerous task. It can result in physical or psychological injury, which in turn reduces productivity, increases absenteeism, as well as creates a higher staff turnover. Your employer is required to draft a workplace policy statement, prevent or minimize bullying and harassment, develop reporting procedures, develop procedures for dealing with and investigating incidents and complaints, and train workers and supervisors. It's time to watch a short video on complaints.
Employers must have procedures in place to deal with workplace bullying and harassment. If an incident or complaint occurs, an investigation must be conducted promptly. Here's an example of how to talk to an employee who's been investigated for bullying and harassment.
Chef, as you know, we received a complaint from Janet about your behavior in the kitchen.
Well, she's got to toughen up. We work in a restaurant. It's a high-pressure place.
I get it. The kitchen can be a stressful place to work, but we don't tolerate abusive behavior. We investigated the complaint and determined that your intimidating behavior and verbal abuse were bullying and harassment. Janet has asked for an apology.
Really? You want me to apologize to one of the cooks?
Yes, and it's important you understand that your negative behavior affects everyone, not just Janet. A copy of the investigation has been put in your personnel file. Now let's sit down and review the company policy on bullying and harassment, and make sure this doesn't happen again.
If an incident or complaint occurs, investigations should be fair and impartial, be focused on finding facts and evidence. For more information on how to conduct investigations, go to worksafebc.com/bullying.
Workplace bullying and harassment is unacceptable and not tolerated. First United Church Community Ministry Society, or First United, is committed to providing a work environment that is free of all forms of harassment, including bullying and harassment, sexual harassment, and discrimination. In keeping with this commitment, harassment of any kind will not be tolerated, and such conduct may result in disciplinary action up to and including immediate dismissal, depending on the frequency and severity of the behavior. Harassment of a criminal nature may lead to police involvement. This harassment policy applies to all workers, including permanent, temporary, casual, contract, and student workers. It applies to all interactions, including interpersonal and electronic communications, such as email. The contents of this harassment policy will be reviewed at least once a year, and if revised, all workers will be provided with access to an updated policy. You've been given a copy of our policy for your review. If you have any questions, please see your manager. The best way for everyone to prevent or minimize bullying and harassment is to be aware of the risks and take steps to prevent and minimize it. Now that we know what bullying and harassment is, how do we report it? You're required to report harassment that is committed by any person who comes into contact with First United workers, including a fellow worker, a member of management, a volunteer, or any member of the public, if you believe that you or a fellow worker at First United is the victim of bullying and harassment. Incidents should be reported to your supervisor or manager ASAP. If your supervisor is the alleged bully, then report it to the executive director. If the alleged bully is the executive director, you can report the incident or complaint to the chair of the Personnel Committee, Judy Eccles. Please see the info sheet for her contact information. And let's watch a short video about what to do when the employer is the bully.
Every employer in British Columbia must have procedures for workers to report workplace bullying and harassment. This includes what to do if the employer or supervisor is the alleged bully. Here's an example of a situation where the employer is the alleged bully.
Hey, son. What's up?
There's some stuff going on at work, and I don't know what to do.
Well, what's going on?
My boss keeps wrecking my stuff. Look what he drew on my backpack. And he's always insulting me and calling me names.
Are you kidding?
Did you tell him to stop?
Of course, but he just laughed and told me to lighten up.
I'm going down there to have a word with him.
No, Dad. This is my problem.
There must be something else you can do. Is there anyone else you can report this to?
Not really. He owns the company. And the other workers are his buddies.
So, what are you supposed to do if your boss is the bully?
Every employer in British Columbia must have procedures for workers to report workplace bullying and harassment. This includes what to do if the employer or supervisor is the alleged bully. For more information and advice, contact WorkSafe BC's Prevention Information Line or visit worksafebc.com/bullying.
Although you're encouraged to report incidents or concerns internally, WorkSafe BC also has a prevention information line where incidents can be reported. Please see the info sheet for the contact information. Incidents can be reported orally or in writing. Be prepared to report the what, where, when, and who was involved, including any witnesses and other information that may be helpful to an investigation. All complaints will be handled discreetly and promptly investigated. If the incident or complaint fits within the United Church Sexual Abuse Policy, see the info sheet, you may want to bring it forth under the United Church Sexual Abuse Policy Act. The Health and Safety Committee will provide all training for bullying and harassment to all employees and employers of First United Church. Workers are responsible to report if they see or experience bullying or harassment and comply with First United Church workplace policies and procedures. Let's watch another short video about worker-to-worker bullying and harassment.
As a worker, you're entitled to protection from bullying and harassment. That's why every employer in British Columbia must have policies and procedures to prevent and address it. Here's an example of how you might talk to someone who is bullying and harassing you at work.
Hi, Cindy. Could we talk when you've got a minute?
Sure, I'm free now.
On Monday, you said my report was fine. Then today, at our team meeting, you said I must have been drunk when I wrote it. You've said things like that before.
When I looked at it again today, I thought your report was garbage, so I said so.
Cindy, when you insult me in front of our team, it's humiliating. I'd prefer if you would talk to me privately. If you provide suggestions instead of criticizing me, I could fix it.
I don't understand why you're bringing this up. No one else has a problem with how I speak.
Maybe it's not your intention, but it's degrading and it needs to stop.
All workers have a duty not to engage in bullying and harassment. If you witness or experience it, you must report it. For more information and resources, go to worksafebc.com/bullying.
Managers and supervisors are required to not engage in bullying and harassment, apply and comply with workplace policies and procedures on bullying and harassment, and investigate and report findings and recommendations. What you can do to stop bullying and harassment. Don't gossip. Listen to the target, offer support, document details of what you see to share in an investigation, including the dates, details, witnesses, and tell the bully to stop. When you're the victim of bullying and harassment, tell the bully what behavior was inappropriate, make it clear the behavior is unwanted and unacceptable, stay calm, don't retaliate, and report it. For more information about bullying and harassment, you're always welcome to contact Jerry Morick and check our policies and procedures on our intranet in the G Drive. Use the resources on our info sheet or visit the worksafebc.com/bullying website. Thank you.